Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Failing Forward podcast. This is your host, Nikou Lohse speaking. Yes, my voice is gone today, so we will see how this goes, but I have an incredible guest here that I cannot wait to introduce you to, Miss Barbara Majeski. You've probably seen her on TV on Good Morning America, doing her segments on all things life and luxury. She is an incredible woman that I have been following on the streets of Clubhouse for the last few months. And I heard her one day telling her story about working for a sales company and how she made her way up into this big consulting role. And she had all these offices and all these reps. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh my God, did we do the same thing? And I messaged her private chat and DMs. And I said, hey, did you work for a company called so-and-so? And she's like, yeah, I did. I'll let her reveal the name if she wants to. But this woman is a badass. Capital ASS, badass. She is a mother of three, a successful entrepreneur, retired from entrepreneurship, TV show host. I mean, she's done all the things, survivor of cancer. I mean, talk about failing forward in life and health and her career in entrepreneurship. Barbara, we are so happy to have you here today. Hello, and welcome to the podcast.
Hi, I'm so sorry about your voice. You don't usually sound this way, but I'll just do more of the talking and give you as much space because I have many stories and we have so much great crossover. So thanks for having me. This is going to be a really fun interview.
It's going to be a blast. So let's start at the top. You and I did the exact same thing. A lot of our viewers already know what I used to do. I did direct marketing and sales for Home Depot, DirecTV, Solar City, Victoria Jackson, working in big retail boxes, whether I was in a Home Depot or Fry's or Costco, Sam's Club, or going door to door selling Victoria Jackson makeup. It was fun times, Popcornopolis, you name it. And then you did the same thing too. So tell us about your success from failure story, how you started that business, where it got you to, how you failed forward, and how you're at where you're at today.
This is so fun. So I love this story because I graduated college and I really wanted to put myself in a position where I had more financial upside. The harder I worked, the more money I made. I didn't really want a job. I wanted an opportunity. So there was this startup company. So this is 1997. I'm 10 years older than you are. And so this is 1997 and they're piloting this campaign to go door to door. And it's just a bunch of us in Atlanta, Georgia. And if I started name dropping, I think your head would pop off because these are all the people that you probably know. So we were test marketing to see how effective going business to business was for AT&T because telemarketing had kind of run its course. And the thought was, if we did really well for AT&T, they would ask us to expand into cities across the US. And I was really committed. I was like, this sounds right. Everyone told me it was a scam. Everyone told me it was a pyramid scheme. Everyone told me to get a real job, get benefits, get a salary. I was working 6 days a week. So I wasn't just going business to business. On the weekends, I was going door to door, literally knocking on people's houses. So I'm literally telling your story right now in some form or fashion. Now I'll get to the big box stores and all that, but so we were piloting this campaign and sure enough, AT&T loved the work that we were doing. Oh, oops, sorry about that. AT&T, can you still hear me? Sorry, I powered down for a second. Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly, but if you have headphones, throw those in. It'll even be clearer.
You know what? I don't have headphones. Can you put this on pause for 1 second? I just realized my thing is right. The test market is successful. They have us expand. It's the wild, wild west. They're like, Barb, not only does AT&T want us, but the gas and electric is deregulated. They want, we need you to run a sales team in Baltimore. At the same time, they were also doing things along the lines of college, stuff on college campuses. So this is actually where there's so many things going on at the time. So college campuses wanted us to do credit card promotions. We went out on the college campuses, signed kids up for credit cards. We went to Target, signed people up for credit cards. We did trade shows, air shows. We would give away koozie mugs and sign people up for, it was basically signing up people for credit cards. So yeah, I was like that annoying person in the mall or not in the mall, but in the airports. I was that guy. Be nice to that guy because we're hustling. We're trying to, we're working on commission. So anyway, that's my story in that space. So now that's one of the largest outsourced direct sales company in North America. Were a part of that company in some form or iteration of it or what have you.
Very similar.
Very
Very
similar.
similar. And you know, a funny story I have to tell you.
Yeah.
Whenever I go into a Home Depot now and I see that rep scaling the aisles, going up and down, asking people, hey, are you a homeowner? Do you have a kitchen? I always sit there and I let them go through their pitch with me like the whole way. And I throw them the objections because I want to give them feedback afterwards. And I'm like, hey, I know what you're doing. I love it. I appreciate it. Respect it. Let me give you some feedback on your pitch. Here's how to overcome this objection. Here's what I would have done differently. Whether it's in Home Depot for kitchen cabinet refacing or in Costco for DirecTV or AT&T, right? Or I have people that still go door knocking and they're talking about the new programs right now are all about helping people with financial services, helping people with their credit score. Like it's all the same company. But I listen to their pitch every time because why be an asshole, right? Number one, why be an asshole?
And then you can show them like, I feel like when that happens, when I run into somebody, I'm like, please just always maintain a positive attitude. You're learning skills for life. And and I don't know if you do as well, but I draw upon that those life skills more than I can't reflect on anything in college. I have like nothing other than like, I took anatomy and physiology and I can tell you where your thigh bone meets your hip bone. I don't even know if that was from a song from PBS or not, but you know,
I love that. That's hilarious.
The knee bones. I don't know. I don't even know.
Thigh bone and the thigh bones got to meet that.
Literally, I think it's from Channel 13, our public broadcast station. So I officially did learn nothing in college, but I learned so much from door-to-door sales about attitude, work ethic, what you control, law of averages. I mean, all of it is so applicable to every part of life. Like, you know, learning about, you know, for me in that experience, I feel like the biggest takeaway is really understanding my locus of control. Like, I think that was the best thing. Like, I could only control these factors. And back in the day, it was like, you control your work ethic and your attitude. But I've always been able to draw, when I was diagnosed with cancer in 2015, I quickly assessed what I had control over, which was very little. Couldn't control my diagnosis, but I could handle how I handled my diagnosis. And it was all about my attitude and my effort in going into the treatments. And, you know, I knew my kids were watching. That's like part of the leadership that you learn in sales so much. I could talk about that business all day long with nothing but grace and gratitude. I just cannot. And when people badmouth it and say like, crappy things, I'm like, I would have going back, I would have done it for free for what I've been able to take forward in my life. Because when life has knocked me down, I've really had some strong muscles, you know, that really good muscle memory to pull myself up out of the fetal position. So I'll let you ask more questions because I'll talk all day long. And we want to talk about.
I want to dive in because so much of what you said there is so powerful. And I want to make sure the audience heard. Number one, you're a mother of 3. So, you know, managing a schedule, taking care of your kiddos while still trying not to have that mom guilt, that shame, that should I just be a mom? Should I just be there with them? But here you are being a business owner, being an entrepreneur, doing all these fantastic things, giving back. And you have such humility. I remember when I first started that company and I went home and I actually didn't go home and tell my mom what I did. I was pitching in a Home Depot store in El Cajon, San Diego, California.
I know where that is. Yeah.
And I'm in the paint aisle and I'm pitching a customer and I turn around and who do I see there? My cousin. And my cousin sees me pitching and she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm just helping that guy find paint because I wasn't wearing a Home Depot uniform. I was wearing normal business clothes with a Home Depot badge. So I hid the badge. I didn't want them to know what I was doing because I had graduated from college. I went to UC San Diego, got the bachelor's, got all that stuff. But I graduated in 2009 when the economy crashed. So I was laid off my first job before I even started. And I had to figure it out. And I was like, you know what? My father had just passed away in February. I got this gig in October. He passed away from cancer. And I was like, you know what? I feel comfortable in a Home Depot. I was raised in a Home Depot wearing a hard hat. So in honor of my dad, let's just do this little gig. They have a guaranteed pay, $340 a week. Woohoo, guaranteed. I have an opportunity to advance. I have an opportunity to learn about sales and marketing. These seem like good skill sets to have. No one's hiring right now anyways. I wanted to work in Wall Street in New York. And Wall Street, New York was non-existent then.
Decimated. So, you know decimated.
I'm going to learn the sales thing. I'm going to learn how to talk to people, build these relationships. The worst thing that's going to happen, I'll get an opportunity to get to management and make 6 figures a year, because that was the promise. That was their pitch, 6 to 12 months, get to management, right? And I remember everyone that I told what I was doing was like, you're crazy. You've literally lost it. Like, we're worried about you. We know your dad passed away. You're going to be fine. Like, let me line you up with this interview. Have this guy. We're going to get you a real job making $50,000, $60,000 a year because you went to UC San Diego. You have the bachelor's. You have all the things. Like, don't go pitching in a Home Depot for $340 a week. And no one got it. I kept telling them, I was like, but you don't understand, there's an opportunity. Like, now I'm an account manager. I'm hiring people. I'm building a team. Like, this is so much fun. Even though I was taking 200 no's a day and being told to F off when I'm walking down aisles, like, it's all good. It was building my attitude. It was building my thick skin. Right. But no one believed in me. And my boyfriend at the time was like, babe, like, I think this company's a scam. I read a ripoff report about your manager and he doesn't pay people. The paychecks aren't real. No one gets to management. Like, it's all fake. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, whoa, maybe I am involved in some sort of a Ponzi scheme or an MLM or a scam or something like that. Cause there's all these pyramid schemes out there, right? Come here, buy this bundle, go and get your friends and family involved and build your pyramid and you'll be ruby level, diamond level, making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. Well, this was different. We weren't pitching our friends and family and building our team off of them. We were working for a legit company with a legit client, providing legit services and getting legit paid, whether it was commission or a base plus commission, with an opportunity to grow if you can learn how to hire, train, develop, manage people, and oversee the client. Like, it's a real business, but no one else saw it that way. So at 21 years old, I'm glad that I saw what no one else saw. There's a reason why 98% work for 2%, because the 2% have the vision, the mission, and then and the ability to see what the 98% can't see. We're also willing to work for the things that the 98% aren't willing to work for. I was willing to bet on myself, just like you were. I didn't need a stable 9 to 5. I didn't need a guaranteed paycheck. 340 was nice, but I was making $600-$800 a week because I was making way more in the commissions, right? And that's what I was grinding for. But I didn't take that job for that weekly paycheck. I took it because someone told me, if I get really good at this, I'm going to get an opportunity to manage my own office, to run my own business at 21 years old. And when they told me that, they said the entry level pay is 80 to 120 grand a year. I was like, sign me up. That's way better than 50 to 60 grand working on Wall Street at a time when the market was crashed.
There was no market. Yeah.
There was no market. So October 2009, I start. March 2010, I open my office in LA. Fast forward 3 years later, regional consultant, making well into the 6 figures. Fast forward 5 years after that, 2018, I got an offer to be bought out and I had to even sign a non-compete agreement. So I'd stay out of the business because I was that good at what I did. But you have that same story.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, it was, we got in, I had the vision. People thought I was nuts. And, you know, I'm really grateful for it. I love the idea that I stuck with it when everyone quit around me and I believed in myself. I had a strong intuition. I will say that it was like every time I wanted to quit, my intuition was like, no, Babs, you ain't quitting. And I was like, no, I'm quitting. My intuition was like, no, you're not. I'm like, no, I am. And I was really, I think the part for me that is so important to share in this is that I was surrounded by good people. The people that we were building this enterprise with that are still there today were really great people. So yeah, we looked like a bunch of clowns. We drove crappy cars. We ate saltines and salsa. We were broke as a joke, all of us, but we all had great character. We had ethics and ethos and vision, and we were really ambitious. I was with really big thought leaders. And so we were very committed to the vision. So where other people would come in and be like, this is garbage and this is all just, you know, pipe dreams and this and that. The rest of us, the 2%, were like, yeah, this does look like garbage. And there's no better time to start when you're working out of a warehouse with like a heater in the corner, you know, that looks like a mosquito killer. Like, I think that's such a good paradigm. I have these conversations every once in a while where people see the negative. And I'm like, you don't understand. Like, my son right now is doing crew, and this is a teachable moment. And he's like, Mom, he's like complaining about the team and we're the bad news bears and we're this and that. And my son is He's just he's a good athlete. Okay. He's a big kid. He's an athlete and he's very strong. And I've definitely been pushing him in this direction. And the crew coach has asked him to be the captain for next year. And he's like looking at all the negatives, like, this team never wins. And I'm like, but here's an opportunity for you to be a leader and take this team from the bottom of the barrel to number one. This is your shot, buddy. Like, you don't want to jump into a winning team. You want to take the bad news bears to the playoffs. I mean, is that right? Is that even the right term? To the Super Bowl? I don't even know, like baseball, whatever. You're the baseball wife, not me. But yes, I mean, I'm sorry. I'm like, I don't know. They won Super Bowls and then show. I don't know. Okay. Anyway, it's just a matter of like, for me, because you and I, similar, are visionaries, and we see negatives as opportunity and not as negatives. We see them as like, wait a second, yeah, this place does look like a train wreck, but I can transform this and be part of something. So I think just the power of that. And I know your podcast is about learning through failure. So I'll let you direct the conversation, but I have a lot of theories on that.
Yeah. And I think, one man's trash is another man's treasure, right? A lot of people they have such a big ego, and people let their ego get in the way. I'm not going to take that job where they're paying me 30 grand a year. I'm worth 60 grand a year. Well, guess what? That girl or that guy that takes a job at 30 grand a year because they see an opportunity to learn and develop their skill sets in life, work ethic, student mentality, attitude, that 30 grand is going to turn into 100 grand within 1 year.
Oh,
and you're going to be stuck. Even if you get that job at 60, guess what? The average raise is 3 to 5% a year. So 60 is going to turn to 63,000. 63,000 is going to turn to 66 and a half. And you're going to be stuck under 100 grand for the next 10 years. While that 30 grand person's at 100, 200, 7 figures, 8 figures. And they learn the skill sets to be an entrepreneur in the game of life. So let's talk about entrepreneurship, how you felt in entrepreneurship, how you exited that business, and then you got into TV. Let's go there.
So I want to also, and I will talk about entrepreneurship and getting into television. And I'll even throw in my cancer story because that's so important. But I loved your story about, being in the Home Depot and being, your cousin seeing you. I remember it was like, I did my field work in Atlanta. I'm from New Jersey, but my biggest fear was somebody seeing me go door to door. And I was like, so humiliated by what I was doing. Although I understood what I was doing, I just didn't really feel like I needed to rationalize and explain like the full vision to anybody that I would run into high school. Cause everybody at that point was wearing their suits and being all jazzy. And I'm literally like in my field shoes, sweating and being a hot mess express. I couldn't be
with
more
holes
proud.
In the bottom of your flat shoes, right?
Oh, holes.
And you're like, well, I can't really afford to buy new shoes because A, they're going to be ruined within 2 weeks anyways. Yeah. And B, who cares? And the funny thing about in our business, like when you're in the field, when you're in that entry level marketing position, how funny is it when your friends and family ask you, so Barbara, what's your new job? Tell us about it. And you have this like elaborate pitch. I work for these amazing companies and this awesome opportunity. And I'm changing people's lives, right?
Yeah.
Like you would think it was the best thing since sliced bread. And then you see us in the field knocking on door to door.
Yeah. You're like, did you lose that jazzy job? Where's your jazzy pants job? I'm like, this is jazzy pants. It's just the pre-jazzy pants. I think the best, first of all, that's so true of like, just the way that you could kind of frame it. But I couldn't be more proud now. And I say it so much. I'm like, I went door to door. Like, I'm so damn proud of it. I wish if I could go back, I would tell that girl, I would tell myself, you tell everybody you go door to door and let them laugh at you. Let them laugh at you because they are not going to be laughing in 10 years. They are literally going to be like, how the hell did you do that? Like, I just bought my third piece of real estate. It's not the space to talk about that, but I'm financially very fine. How's that? But it is all because
And I know a lot of our listeners are listening right now. They might be doing a job that other people are thinking that's below you. Like you could be doing better than that. And they have friends and family and loved ones and spouses that are saying, you're working too much for making so little. You should do something different. But if you're hearing us, we want you to know that you see something that 98% don't see.
Yes. And, read the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, because I think that epitomizes everything that we're talking about. And just put yourself in a position, you said it, be in a position where you can be a student and learn. Make sure you're surrounding yourself with not like-minded individuals, right-minded individuals, and people that not only talk the talk, but actually walk the walk. There's a lot of people that can be visionaries, but they're lazy, and they listen, watch people, what they do, not what they say. And if that was,
Amen.
yes,
Actions speak louder than words. Everyone
Mhm.
today is a life coach. We're on
Yeah.
Clubhouse. Everyone today is a life coach, a health coach. They got the new thing that they're trying to sell you, right? But look at the people. How are they living? What are their habits? How do they treat people? How's that conversation? How do they make you feel? Do you feel like you're being sold something? Or are you like, wow, you're really pouring into me? You're trying to educate me. You're coming from a place of, I know where you are right now. Let me help you. Let me pull you to where I am now, right? And just be wary. Words are just words, but actions, they truly do speak louder than words. I love that.
Yeah, so true. And I think that's where I was very fortunate. I was definitely surrounded by really ambitious, hardworking people. My very good friend, Brandy Park, she still to this day is the hardest working woman I know. And she was very well educated, graduated top honors of her class, scholarship. She tried out at the University of Georgia, which is a big deal over there. I'm from Jersey. It doesn't always translate, but she's a big deal. And she could have worked anywhere, and she chose to work alongside me. And when all of a sudden you see like really smart, driven, ambitious people are like, yeah, start doing like, yeah, this is it. This is good. I got this. And you start actually attracting these like not only right-minded, but also like-minded, ambitious people. So I did that. I was part of the expansion. I started opening up offices. We started test piloting more projects, campaigns. I did very well. It was very exciting. I financially did well. And I put myself in a financial position where I could just take a pause, and I got married. I married a Jim Majeski, and we started a family. So I had retired just before my 30th birthday, or was it 30? No, I was 30. I was 30, not before 30. I retired at 30. Actually, I retired that month, that April.
That's amazing.
Incredible. I was a youngin', had my first, and then I had my second. So now I have 3 kids. Fast forward, I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I do want to dive into that a little bit. I think so many of us we have FOMO, fear of missing out, that if we take our foot off the gas pedal to shift gears and rewrite our story and leave the career because I want to I want to focus on being a mom. The FOMO is huge, and it's real. I think I need to do a whole podcast. Person needs to do FOMO podcast, just FOMO podcast, but then reframe it. And I will be happy to be on that podcast. Whoever's going to start that. I'm not going.
I'm writing it down right now.
Yeah. Okay. FOMO podcast. I will tell you, I was like, oh my God, I was very disoriented when I first decided to leave my career and be a stay-at-home mom. I was like, I didn't see this coming. And the worst part is other women that I think women do such a disservice to other women. And I want to share this because it's a major no-no. And I think we need to be part of the change. People would say to me, well, what do you do all day? Like, I literally was like, what? But you have, what do you mean I have? Like, what do you mean? I'm just doing my best, living my best life. And you're making me feel bad about living my best life, because what I think living my best life is not what you think living your best life is. So you are choosing to put me down in a passive aggressive way by saying, oh yeah, but yeah, stop. We're going to stop that. And we're going to just fix each other's crowns. And we're going to no longer be judgy pants. And I will tell you, I was Miss Judgy Pants. And I'll tell you, the transformation happened in 2015, where I lost my ability to be Miss Judgy Pants. And I think it's really, really important. So if I'll be all over the place. But I was a stay-at-home mom. There's 2 points I want to make, and then I'm going to talk about Judgy Pants, 2015 Judgy Pants. I want to first talk about taking, shifting gears. If you want to be a stay-at-home mom, or you want to be a stay-at-home dad, or you just want to take an internship for a year, you want to go on sabbatical, you want to take a gap year, you're in college and you're just not feeling you need to stop. What is right for you is right for you. It is not meant to be right. You have a different path. You are an original. So stop trying to be a copy. And I took a pause and I became a 100% full-fledged stay-at-home mom. I was very disoriented initially, but I found my sea legs and I got into it. I really got into it the way Barbara Majeski gets into things, signed up for everything, did the mommy and me classes and whatever, hosted mommy groups and mommy play dates. And I was in mommy palooza like nobody's business. I'm all in. I'm kind of an all in kind of girl.
So this is interesting, Barbara, because I'm on this, I'm at this turning point right now where I'm trying to make a decision. Do I go that direction? And then there's this FOMO where I'm like, wow, I've built this business. Yeah. I have a Pilates business that's on a wait list. And I'm so scared to tell my clients I might take some time off for a while. And I don't know how long that's going to be because I want to just enjoy these last couple of years before my son goes to school. And there's so much guilt there. And I'm like, I feel like I'm missing out. That's why when you said FOMO, fear of missing out, that's me. I'm so scared to push pause because I feel like, will I be able to do it again later? Am I going to lose my business? Have to start all over? It's such a big fear for me. So hearing you tell me that you were there, you went through it. And I know I've taken a week off at a time before and it was miserable. I was like, this mom thing's hard. I can't, just changing diapers all day is doing goo goo gaga. This is really, really hard. Mm-hmm. So my hat's off to full-time moms. My hat's off to stay-at-home moms because it's the hardest and most underappreciated, undervalued, disrespected job out there. And I've been guilty of being that mom. I've been guilty of being that mom where I tell my stay-at-home moms and I'm like, oh, so what do you do all day?
Well, how about this? When we say this, and listen, these are words that have come out of this sassy pants mouth that I'm horrified that I did. And I really do want to be part of the change, but I'm going to throw myself under the bus. Oh, but she has help. Oh, but she has help. Wow, what are you saying? You're
discrediting the mother.
But what you're really doing is actually the way you speak about others says more about you than it does of the person that you're speaking of. And you
mic drop. Boom.
Right?
Say that again. What you say about others
reflects more on you than it does them.
100%.
And when you hear yourself saying, oh, but she has help, you're judging. You are standing on sanctimonious ceremony, if that's even a word or a phrase, but you're putting somebody else down to elevate yourself. And that is not how you elevate yourself. All ships rise in high tide. So I think by what you just said, by you being transparent and, fully authentic by saying, I have FOMO and I'm scared to do this, but I feel compelled to do that. When you share that and you say, I just don't know what is right, you are speaking from the heart of not just yourself, but you're speaking for so many others of I am not, it's like you're wearing a wool sweater in the summer and you're like, something is not comfortable right now, but I'm scared to miss out and I'm scared of this. I am here to tell you one thing only of that. When you take pause in one and you make space, when you make space in your life, because you need to take a pause, you are opening up opportunities for new things to move in. Unless you take those pauses and have those breaks, you cannot make room for anything else. You cannot, all of us have 24 hours in a day. And we cannot do all things. Nobody, because they've got 76 kids, gets all of a sudden, oh, well, you got a bonus hour today because you decided, we all still get the same amount of time. So anybody tells you that you can manage it all, I'm going to tell you I don't know, I can't manage it all. And I have help. And now, anyway, there's so many things in there. And I do want to get to Judgy Pants because I think it's so important because she was a real asshole and that was me. So that's kind of just what I wanted to share is I took pause. I became a stay-at-home mom. I had 3 children and I look back and I have great friends. I feel that I didn't miss out on anything. I was able to intercept a very scary health diagnosis that people were overlooking in my middle child. And because I was so locked into my children, because that's what I did, I was able to really dodge a major bullet. And that's not for this conversation today, but, I was all in and I am very grateful for that time. Now, when I decided to jump back into the work world, where you're meeting me now, I am so much better of a human being. And this next chapter that I'm leading, and I think the reason why I've been successful even on Clubhouse, is my voice and my-ness, the Babsness, the Barbarness is so much better because I took pause. I stepped out of a game, but when I'm coming back into the game, and I feel this, and it can come off arrogant, I don't care. I am miles ahead. I'm like miles ahead because I just think my bandwidth has been expanded in this human experience of like, yeah, I can speak to so many things. So I just feel like, this is how I feel. I don't even know if I articulate it the way I want to. I feel that I can pull out a chair at any damn table. Any damn table, I'm sitting down with you. Nobody intimidates this girl. Nobody.
Well, you've found your confidence, you found your voice, but moreover, you've made yourself multifaceted, not just single faceted. You're not just good at being an entrepreneur. You're not just good at being a momtrepreneur. You're not just good at being a stay-at-home mom. Like you've learned it all. So you can literally read and relate and connect and converse with anyone.
But you know what it also is? It's like, I have confidence, but I also have the confidence to say, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do that, but I can learn how to do it. And I can
That's humility because you humbled yourself.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like I'm sometimes still in a place of arrogance, and I'm not going to say I know. Mm-hmm. I know I'm operating from a place of arrogance where I'm like, I know what I'm doing. I'm the best thing since sliced bread. And I still need to learn at 33 years old how to be more humble, how to have more humility, right? Because yes, I can read and relate with everyone. I'm not saying that I'm disrespectful towards people or I put people down. I don't. I'm all about helping people, pouring into people. But my attitude is a little bit off. My perspective is a little bit off. And I just need to like teach myself that don't forget where you started. Don't forget where you came from. Mm-hmm. Don't be sassy pants.
Right. Don't be sassy pants. I think there's so much like, I think being able to say, I don't know how to do that. Like, I'm just not an expert there. And you know what? I haven't been in the game. Like I sit here on these Zoom calls or these calendar links and all these things. And is it because I've been out of the game? Yeah. You know what? I might be, but there's nothing I can't ask. And I feel confident enough to sit at a table and be like, I just don't know how to do that. I don't understand that. Who can teach me? Who can I bring in? And people are so willing to help each other because people do like to come from a point of expertise. We all want to show up to that table with like something to offer, but we also have to show up to that table with something to for other people to offer to us. I don't show up at any table with this like sanctimonious, I'm an expert. I'm like the queen. I'm a queen in this lane and this lane only. And then the rest, I don't know shit about shit. So I think I show up with like this, it's almost like a slingshot. Like I was pulled back almost to be rocket launched into this stratosphere. And I have this thing where I'm like, I'll go into any room on Clubhouse. I'll show up anywhere. And I'm humble yet confident, I'm like, all right. And I wait for my turn to talk. And I'm so grateful for all the people that have so much to pour into me. And when I feel like I have something to add, I can. So I guess I just share that story because I'm like, listen, you want to take pause in your career and step into this other lane and just test it out. Don't try to be someone else. What's right for you is right for you. And you can jump back in. You can jump back in without being like, oh, what are they going to think? Let's talk about my cancer. Cause now I
want to talk about your cancer. And also, so you were turning 30 before your 30th birthday, you retired. You led this very successful career as an entrepreneur, making 6-7 figures, doing incredible. You actually have part ownership in the company now, which is incredible. And then you retired at 30, you started your family. How long were you a stay-at-home mom? What happened with the cancer? And then how'd you get back into the workforce and get into TV?
Yeah. So I was a stay-at-home mom from 2004 until 2015. So I was 11 years as a stay-at-home mom. Now, during that time, I launched a philanthropy initiative. I got a humanitarian award from Operation Smile. So I did find my lane in being a full-time stay-at-home mom. I found ways to keep my, because I'm a curious person and I'm motivated. I want to be part of something. So I did find my space. I launched I did a Holocaust survivor event in my community. I was very involved. And in the middle of it, I had 3 kids. So I did lose a pregnancy in there. So I can talk, I know people struggle with that. I did lose one between the 2 boys and my daughter. So
I would love to talk about that too, failing forward in fertility, because I know there's so many women, myself included, that have dealt with miscarriages.
And it's tough.
It's common. It's 1 out of 3 pregnancies ends in a miscarriage. 1 out of 3.
And you're not alone. Nobody's alone in it. And it's tough and it's disappointing. It's filled. I went through that. I had an ectopic pregnancy that I almost didn't make because they couldn't remove it. It was a hot mess express. That's just me. But it's part of my journey. And then I did get pregnant again with my daughter. And then in 2015, the summer of 2015, which is it started out as a great year. 2015 started out so hot. I came in hot. Like 2015, I was like, I had hosted a humanitarian, I had hosted the Holocaust survivor event in Princeton, and you could have heard a pin drop. Even the husbands came up to me afterwards and was like, I hate getting schlepped to all these things. And this, I will never forget. It was such a moment. I will never be able to, and it's not on tape. There's like very little, whatever. And that was January of 2015. Then May of 2015, I received a humanitarian award from Operation Smile for some fundraising I had done alongside Johnson & Johnson. And then July 2015, my marriage ended. Boom, shakalaka, boom. And it sounded a lot like that. And in November of 2015, I was diagnosed with stage 3 cancer. So I think just being confronted with my marriage falling apart and then being diagnosed with cancer, I no longer had the bandwidth to be phony. I always say prior to 2015, I was white knuckling my life. Like I was, checking all the boxes and doing all the right things and contorting myself to be this person that I thought my husband at the time wanted me to be. But I was also extremely judgmental. And I used to say, well, if that happened to me, I would do like judgy pants and then some. Oh, but she has help. Like I would say that, and I had help. Like, well, I don't even understand my own narrative. Like I could hear myself saying, oh, but but I had help. And I was just part of that like toxic bullshit that I own it. I was just, but when my marriage fell apart and it broke my heart, I married the man of my dreams. I was not I wasn't the person he wanted. I don't know. I'm pretty effing amazing, but I just wasn't this person. So that was really heartbreaking for me. I had 3 kids and I was like, well, this isn't what I signed up for. And then when I got a stage 3 cancer diagnosis, my kids were 12, 10, and 4. I was like, I just had nothing in my tank. My heart was broken. I was, dealing with this cancer, and I was unhinged, and there was just nobody to be but me. And, all these things that happened to me kind of gave me pause to be like, well, who was I to ever judge somebody that was going through a divorce or choosing separation or whose marriage had imploded due to certain things. And I just became very raw. And I think I always say it's only in the darkness that you can see the stars. And I was very humbled by my experiences. It's like, I thought by checking all these boxes, I was immune from getting sick. I was immune from tragedy. I was immune from my divorce failing. I was being the perfect wife. Like I was checking all the boxes. Like, of course, why had my marriage ended? But when all of that was peeled away, I just emerged like I just cannot stand in that same space anymore. You don't know how you're going to handle anything until it's dished out onto you. I used to be like, if that happens to me, this is how I'm handling it. And all of a sudden it happened to me. I was like, well, I can't handle it that way because I have 3 kids. I don't get to just walk out on a marriage. I don't just pick my kids in some dramatic scarring way and pack the bags and go live in, the St. Regis or something. I had 3 children. I was like, oh, I don't actually get to do what I said I would do if that happened to me. And because of it, I'm honestly, as sad as that is, I'm like, I'm a better person for it because I just don't judge. I just abandon. You do you. You want to take a year off? Fine. You want to serve ice cream for I don't care, like no judgment. So I just think I'm into a place of we have to, in the 7 spiritual laws of success by Deepak Chopra, one of his laws is don't judge. And I really want to call him and be like, I don't think that's going to work. And I used to struggle with it because the truth is we have to judge. It's human nature. It keeps us out of, it keeps us from walking across a street into a moving car. Like, you have to judge. Judgment is how we navigate the world and stay safe. But I think we can evaluate with compassion. I think we can assume people are going through something and, go from, move from that space. It's not normal to not practice, don't judge. I judge. But anyway, those are my thoughts on that. We can talk about my breakthrough in cancer and fix my hair. Okay.
Our society is lacking empathy. Our society is lacking empathy. Yes, you can be judgmental. You're entitled to your opinion. You're entitled to your perspective, but do you have the ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes and to see the world through their eyes, to feel through them? You never know what someone's going through. So that girl that you saw that was running into Starbucks and grabbed her coffee and spilled it all over herself and made a whole mess, and the baby's crying and all the stuff's going on. You're sitting there judging her, saying she's a horrible mom. She's causing a scene. She looks like a hot mess. You have no idea what happened to get her to that point. You don't know what the morning looked like for her. You don't know that maybe her nanny got into a car accident on the way. So she had to do all these other things that she wasn't planning on doing, getting her baby ready, change the diaper, get him clothed while getting herself ready. That was 15, 20 minutes that she wasn't planning for. She had to get herself to the doctor's appointments. And now she's rushing to get her coffee, and the baby's throwing a tantrum because he's a toddler. Like, you don't know what she's going through. So your snippet, your judgment, if you can come from a place of empathy and start to feel what people are feeling and just be kind, kindness, have more kindness, have more compassion, understand that the snippet that you're seeing may not be the whole picture. It's just the worst part of the picture.
Never is.
You're judging that person based on that snippet.
Yeah, it never is. There's so much more to that iceberg. You don't see it. None of us see anything, and I think you just made a really good point that we lack empathy, our society overall. And I'm in media now, and I'm going to blame the media a little bit. I think it's just become very hostile, very intolerant. And I think the messaging that we get is that we can stand on sanctimonious judgment, especially in politics, and the way that we are viewing even healthcare, the way people view that. There's two main problems that I think in our society right now in that lane of, we have no respect for other people's political views. We call people names when they don't agree with us, and we shut it down by name calling and all of that. And then
labeling. Why do we have to label people?
And it's hostile, like people choosing not to vaccinate, and the people that choose to vaccinate. The polarity there is toxic. It is toxic. The people that choose to vaccinate, that is your health choice. The people that choose to not vaccinate, that is your health choice.
Just like a mother that chooses to breastfeed or not breastfeed.
Yeah.
Just
but
like,
the judgment,
you know what I mean?
It's ubiquitous. It's too much. And I think where change starts is with ourselves, is within ourselves. We have to stop it. And there's people listening right now that think, you are name calling in a space that you don't belong in. People that are choosing not to vaccinate are maybe choosing that because of circumstances that have happened to them. You don't know that. And any health choice that comes with a risk of injury or death should be up to that person that wants to choose it. But those people that are threatening and maligning, and now you protect your immune system, and I'll protect my immune system. You guys, everybody does their own thing. You don't want to vaccinate, you're taking the risk. You do want to vaccinate, guess what? You're taking a risk too. Everybody's taking a risk.
Right, 100%.
You do you, but get off everybody else's jock about their choices. Who do you think you are? You think you know anything? We don't know shit about shit on this virus. We don't know shit on shit. We don't know. Johnson & Johnson just pulled their vaccine. So please don't tell me this. Don't tell me that.
I mean, you made an amazing point. I have a Pilates client who came, and she's 100% pro-vaccine. She's like, I'm going to do it the second my age group is allowed. I'm going to go. But her husband cannot get vaccinated because he had Guillain-Barré. He almost lost his battle to it. Like, there's people that are going through health concerns that even if they wanted to get vaccinated, they can't. So by you asking someone the question, which is none of your business. Yeah. Did you get vaccinated? Are you going to get vaccinated? Why aren't you going to get vaccinated? You don't know why that person made that decision. So stay in your lane. You do you. Be the best human that you can be. Be kind. Have empathy. And
Be
just
kind.
fail forward in the game of life. Just fail forward.
And protect yourself. Do your protecting. What I do to just protect yourself. Put on your, whatever you need to do. Just get off everybody else's. I keep my opinion, I'm just taking it all in, but I respect those who vaccinate, and I respect people that choose not to vaccinate. I choose, and I don't judge anybody. You get to protect your health, and it doesn't affect public health. I'm sorry, I don't agree with that one. Like, oh, you're protecting the elders. How is what? So I don't agree with it at all.
When did you get into TV, and what are you seeing on that side when you're talking about failing forward and what media is doing to shift the perspective? There's a lot of fear campaigning, right? Because fear is going to cause control, and then control is going to, I mean, there's a lot of initiative behind what's happened the last 18 months for sure. And that could be a podcast episode for a totally different day. But when did you get into TV, and what are you seeing on the other side? And talk to us about how you failed forward there.
Yeah. So when I was in my treatment, so it was, I had to do surgery and then 6 months of chemo, and you do 12 rounds, and about round 7, I was bumping up to round 8. What happens when you do the chemo, you get your infusion and then you build back up, and then you have your next infusion, and then you build back up, and then, you knock down, get back up, knock down, get back up. And then all of a sudden I was bumping up against my next infusion, and I was like, And I'd already played all my crying cards to the oncologist. So I had run out of shenanigans of he wouldn't let me out of it. And I was like, I don't think cancer is going to take me. I think the chemo is going to take me. I don't have the chops for this. And it kind of reflected on my life, and realized I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to be remembered? And so on and so forth. And in this really dark moment of I can't believe this is where my story ends. I made a vow to the universe. I'm like, if you give me another shot, you get me off this bathroom floor, get me out of these treatments, get me the other side of cancer, I'll no longer play small. And it was in that space that I really did say, I will no longer let the voices of fear and doubt dictate how I'm going to navigate this life. I will play big. And I said something very, very important. I will never allow the weight of other people's opinions dictate how I navigate my life. I will no longer let the weight of other people's opinions affect the decisions that I make. And that was transformative for me. I wanted people to like me, respect me, want to be friends with me. And that is just a statistical impossibility. Not everybody's going to like you. Not everybody's going to agree with you. People aren't going to even agree what I have to say on this podcast about tolerance of views. People will be like, no, you have to do this, or you have to believe that. People won't even agree with please be tolerant of people's choices. No, they can't. People are literally not going to agree with me, and they're not going to like me. And you should like me because I'm really fabulous. But abandoning that and throwing it out really did. So that led me to media. I got to the other side of cancer, and I was like, all right, Babs, you said you were going to go big. And what does that mean? And to me, it was I always wanted to be on television. And I always thought, you know what? I'm not smart enough. I'm not tall enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm too old. You name it. I could come up with 77,000 excuses. But when you make a vow to the universe, I'm no longer going to let the negative voices, and I'm no longer going to let what other people think. You made a vow. I'm a woman of my word. I'm like, all right, well, Babs, you said you gonna go big. What does that mean? So I hired a media trainer. I decided I always wanted to be on TV. Found this woman off the Instagram and called her. I was like, hey, I'd like to be on TV. Would you train me? She's like, long story short, I found the right woman. She trained me, and my first booking was on the Today Show. I mean, I know that's I don't even know how to tell that story, because I'm like, yeah, that's what happened.
That is incredible. So wait, let me get the timeline right. Yeah. May 2015, you got a humanitarian award for Operation Smile.
Yeah.
July 2015, you ended your marriage. November 2015, you were diagnosed with stage 3 cancer. 6 months of chemo. 2016, fast forward, you're on the Today Show. So I know.
What? I think it was 2016. 2016. I got to look back. I don't even know what year it is today.
That's
but yes,
crazy.
Because 2016 was a recovery year. Now, I was in chemo in 2016. So I was diagnosed in November, but I had to have 6 months of chemo that started in January, ended in June. And then, so 2017, 2018 was like, all right, Babs, let's pull it together. What do you want to do? I want to go on the Today Show. And the rest is kind of history. I really just wanted to be on TV. I happened to meet a woman, Amy Rosenblum, who was like, she's like, she was in television for 100 years. I live outside of New York. So power of proximity. I was like, all right. And she liked me. She liked my story. She liked my energy. And she's like, I will train you and I'll put you on the Today Show. And I was like, and I will learn and I will go on the Today Show. And I took all those things I learned in the field of sales about being a student and, maintaining a positive attitude and all these things. Because I will say on that, like to make everything full circle, I will say like at the end of that my first little segment with Jenna Bush and Chanel, Chanel was getting her, cutting her teeth on the third or fourth hour of the Today Show or weekend. Was it a weekend? I don't remember. Anyway, one of the producers kind of got on my case and she was like, you said hydration station. And I was like, well, I thought that was kind of witty.
Wait, what's wrong with that? I tell my clients that every single day. I'm like, all right, you made it to your first hydration station. What's wrong with that?
I don't know. I still to this day actually dropped that story because, I remember I'm in my 40s. I've lived a few seasons at this point, and I have a producer busting my hump about my hydration station, which I thought was kind of cute, but she wanted me to say, I guess this is water and lemonade. I don't know. But remember, I had to just like take it on the chin and be like, okay, yeah, I'll never say that again. Who says hydration station? What was I thinking? I'm such a fool. But it's a matter of like, all right, maintain a positive attitude, Barbara, and keep showing up. And listen, that's the field of sales. Like
fail forward.
Yeah, no means next. And yes. I like in talking about that word failure, like for me, it's like, it's only a failure if you don't learn anything, that's the only time you fail. You fail. My marriage was not a failure. My marriage did not fail. And I refuse to call it a failure. I have 3 amazing children. I am in love with my kids. I am obsessed with them. To say that my marriage is a failure actually is like an assault to me as a mother. My marriage was successful until it was over, and it ended. It wasn't my choice, it was whatever. But it was not a failure. It was good while it lasted. We took it as far as we could. I'm very happily divorced now. I'm very happy. And I hope to get married again. I think I don't identify with a failed marriage. Like if anybody, I just don't.
I really so much. Know. And I'm sure there's so many women that are listening right now that are going through heartbreak, that are going through a turning point in their lives where they're not sure, do I move forward? Do I, I'm at a fork in the road. Do I go right? Do I go left? So how did you, and this is before you even had your cancer diagnosis, how did you cope with that? I mean, you married the love of your life, your knight in shining armor. And then one day it's almost like the rug got pulled out from under you. How did you fail forward there?
I will say when I realized the marriage was over, I heard myself cry, a guttural cry that I have never heard in my life. Like I had never heard myself cry at that level. Can you hear the blender in the background?
No, you're good.
Okay. So my kids are homeschooled like everybody else. I've never heard myself cry at that level. And I still to this day, it's like a haunting thing. Both my ex and I talk about it. We're like, I literally think a part of me realized that there was a death in that moment. And really taking stock of what my life was about ready to look like. I had the wind knocked out of me. I had the rug pulled out from underneath me. And so many of us can identify that. That's like not, it's not like unique that I had the wind knocked out of me and I had the rug pulled out. It's part of the human experience to completely be blindsided from some sort of circumstance. It took me a long time to recalibrate. And there's PTSD in there. It's post-traumatic of like, I just don't understand. Like some part of me is like, I don't understand what really happened. But, I have recalibrated at this point, and I'm a delusional optimist. I believe the best is ahead. And I know I shouldn't even use that word delusional, because I really do believe that my best is ahead of me. Like, I really, really do believe that the next chapters, I know I'm going to get married again. I know I'm going to fall in love. I know I'm going to like have a new last name and a whole new experience. I think it's going to be so amazing. It's going to be magical. I am going to have a magical second act. And I just believe in that. And I do. I think I have this amazing wedding. I'm going to marry this amazing man, and I'm going to have this amazing life. And it's going to be filled with all the bullshit that marriages are filled with. But I know there's just going to be this amazing love that I didn't have in my first marriage, like this reciprocated kind of like admiration. I loved him, and I called my prince. I was like, I married the prince. I married the man of my dreams. I wasn't the woman of his dreams. And I think I would like to, my next one is like, am I the woman? Am I that girl?
Yeah.
Because I'd really like to be that girl. So yeah, it is reframing. And listen, take a knee. I took a knee. It was hard. But the best is yet ahead. And it wasn't a failure. People need to take that out. And the one quote that I'll share is, just because it wasn't permanent doesn't mean it wasn't successful. Let me say that again.
That's amazing.
A relationship doesn't have to be permanent to be successful. I learned so much from my ex-husband. I learned so much. He made me a better person until it didn't serve us anymore. But he did in so many ways. I am a better person. I've learned so much. I'm smarter with real estate. We did some amazing transactions, and we have these 3 amazing kids. To call my marriage unsuccessful is just such an assault to all the beauty that was created and all the amazing things that we did. It just wasn't permanent. And that is the big difference. A relationship doesn't have to be permanent to be successful. My marriage was successful. It just
obviously
ended.
You went into the marriage not with the idea or the notion of divorce. It wasn't even your decision. As you said it was his decision. He was your knight in shining armor, but somewhere, you realize, and you said, I wasn't the perfect for him. As a woman, that's hard. Like that hurts our self-esteem, that hurts our confidence. I know a lot of women, a lot of my friends that are in their 40s going into their 50s that were in a similar situation, and they still haven't bounced back. They're still struggling with these feelings of, I can't ever trust a man again. I can't ever love again because I could be left. They have a fear of abandonment.
Yeah. Oh, I totally, I was essentially left, and, it is a choice. That's what it comes down to. It's a decision of, I can choose to be distrustful, or I can choose to be trustful. I'm a trustworthy woman. I am a honest, hardworking, sincere, and I am choosing to trust again. Could somebody leave me again? And could this happen again? But again, I would rather fail and trying. I'd really rather fail trying. I really do. I see myself married again. I think I'm smarter and wiser and more in tune with my intuition. So I think, we have choices, and these are not easy. It is not easy to trust again. It is not easy. It is a constant process. I even dropped the PS, post-traumatic stress disorder. Like there's some PS, I have that because I'm like, I do go on dates sometime and I'm like, oh my God, how's he going to break my heart? And I'll hear myself say that. I'm like, okay, well, but it is navigating you cannot escape it, of like the fear of being hurt at that, guttural level again. But there's also that like, no, my moniker on television is, I'm the curator of the good life. I really believe in living a great life. And that requires making very difficult decisions sometimes. Yeah, I'll never trust again. I'll never love again. Those are all choices. I will trust someone again. I will fall in love again, and I will live a magical, amazing life. I will do that. Those things. And that's how I plan to think. And I believe in I will attract that. And, you know,
100%.
I think I vibrate that way, where I'm
100%.
like, come on, like, this will be a good life. Okay. It's a little fucked up sometimes. It's a little disastery sometimes. And it is like, I get humbled over and over and over again. Like I have like haters sometimes, and I'm like, what? I'm amazing. But again, I just have these, I don't know. So I really feel for women, and I'm in the trenches with them, rebuilding self-esteem and trust. And they're all just they're micro steps in rebuilding those, you know, those pathways again, micro steps, whether it's, if your self-esteem, how can you make yourself feel better? What do you do every day? Do you wake up and just immediately have a cup of coffee, or do you wake up and have hot water with lemon so that you can cleanse your system and start fresh? Like, you can make these little micro movements every single day to build your self-esteem, to take your control back, to take your power back, and to build that self-esteem. These are all little choices. Maybe it's walking while listening to a podcast so that you can build your health back. You get those endorphins going, you know, like you get those endorphins going. Endorphins is like a drug. Like, choose the drug of endorphins, are free. So, yeah, I mean, I really am in the trenches with other women that have had their heart broken, and question love again, and question like happiness and fulfillment in a relationship again. I am right there with them, but I'm choosing to believe in magic. It's my choice.
I love that. And it is all a choice. Our mindset is a choice. I could wake up this morning and look outside and say, today is going to be an incredible day because the sun is shining. I woke up, I'm breathing, like the baby slept through the night. Or I could wake up and say, it's 95 degrees in Scottsdale, Arizona. It's getting really hot. The baby's super snotty. I need to take him to the doctor today. I mean, it's all about your perception. It's all about what you're focusing your attention on, where your energy goes, your focus goes, and you're feeding either positive vibes or negative vibes. And you're dictating your frequency, right? So you think of it like a radio station. Whatever frequency you tune into is what you're going to be listening to. That's a channel that you chose to be on. Right? So in your life, what frequency are you vibrating at? Is it a high frequency or is it a low frequency?
Yeah.
Is it excited and passionate and filled with love and belief? Because I heard you manifesting love. I manifest a beautiful wedding. I manifest meeting the love of my life. I manifest this next chapter of my life being better than my previous chapters. And the beauty is, the Barbara now in her 40s is totally different and way more experienced and has so much more discernment than the Barbara at 29 when you first got married.
Oh, so much better. I no longer, those voices, those negative, you're not worthy, you're not good, you're lucky you landed him, and all those like these really crappy, useless voices. Because I went through cancer and because my marriage ended, I learned how to swipe left on those. We have to, in this same context that you just tapped in, that I want to dive into, is choose your words. You know, you hear women say, I'll never trust again. You are putting it out into your thoughts, and your thoughts and your words dictate your actions. Like, your body language is reflective of your voice, your intonation, your thoughts. Be careful what you are putting out there. We may have moments of like, and I get discouraged, and but I am very quick to kind of recalibrate. So don't think I live in some sort of, unicorn rainbow land, where Lucky Charms guy is floating around here in his leprechaun suit. I legitimately have those moments like, God, I am like really single right now. Maybe, I don't know. And is this going to happen for me? It's not, but it is just, I stay more in like the 80% positivity. And it's an important space to stay, but we choose those. Be careful what you put out there. Like, your brain isn't your brain isn't that capable. Like, it just moves in the direction you tell it to. So yeah, and I keep showing up for dates, and I haven't found him yet, or at least I don't think I have. I don't know, maybe one of these men. I don't know.
It's law of averages. It's law of averages.
Oh my God.
Some will. So what? Next.
Knock on the next door. That's what I keep saying. I literally say this, Barbie, you got to keep yourself out there. You got to keep going. You don't give up. Maintain a positive attitude. Oh my God. Somebody just texted me yesterday. I forgot to text him back. Okay. So I got to text that guy
there
back.
You go.
Now that we're saying that, but
don't forget the rehash.
Double your cash.
We're going back to the sales, you guys. So if you're like, what are these two girls doing right now? This is our sales marketing background.
We've left the grid. Back into the podcast. Back here. But
all right, so let's talk about the podcast, because you said something that I have to amplify. Our mentality, our thoughts, our words are so powerful, because whatever you're saying, you're speaking into existence. Whether you believe you can or you believe you cannot, you are absolutely right. So when you say, I will find love again, you're right. You will, because you believe it. And in the middle of that word belief is the word lie. So don't let your lies get in the way of your beliefs. If you lie to yourself and say, I will never find love, Prince Charming doesn't exist, all the good ones are already taken, they're already married, you're lying to yourself. You're affecting your belief system. And whether you believe you can or you believe you cannot, you are absolutely right. Our brain, the human brain, and I just did an interview with a neuroscientist, so I learned a lot about this. When we say things, we're actually reprogramming the neural pathways of our brain. So there's multiple ways to get from point A to point B. If you guys are driving from home to school, you can go the straight route, the detour route, the Starbucks route, the no traffic route, the lots of traffic route. There's multiple ways to get to school. Well, it's the same way in our mind. We can get to the same place with different thoughts. And the difference is the thoughts that you have and the words that you use, are they going to get you to that place with the most positive experience? Well, you need to have positive words, put out positive vibration to have a positive journey to that destination. It all starts with your words and the words that you're using, ladies, because I see you looking in the mirror saying, I got that pimple again, or oh, my nose is crooked. I got punched in the face. I used to be a boxer and I got a boxer's break. So I have a little deviated septum up here that I never got fixed. And that's why I have a hard time breathing. And when I get these sinus infections, they're really, really bad. I should probably just go and get the surgery already. I meant to do that in 2015. But the funny thing is, I know women are looking in the mirror and they're judging themselves. Oh, my nose is off. My hair is off. I have all these grays. Oh my gosh, look at these wrinkles. Look at my rolls. And your body's listening. Your body is listening to every word that you're saying. And you're putting these little negative programs into your cells, and your cells, the negative cells, they start to multiply and amplify.
Yeah.
So when I look in the mirror, I look at myself and I don't focus on the gray hair. I don't focus on the crooked nose. I focus on, oh my God, your eyes are kick-ass, girlfriend. And your eyelashes are to die for. And your lips are awesome and they're real. And I didn't need to get any plastic surgery done for any of that. Like I am 100% real, badass. And I pump myself up. Like I am my best fan. I am my number one cheerleader. You have to be that way for yourself, guys. Don't keep tearing yourself down. Don't keep looking in the mirror and figuring out what's wrong with you physically, what's wrong with you mentally, because your body is keeping the score. You're holding it in tension in your muscles. You're holding it in aches and pains in your joints, and it's manifesting in your mental health. Your mind and brain are listening. You can get from point A to point B with multiple different journeys, multiple different paths. Choose the one that's the most positive. Manifest greatness, love, desire, passion, success, and all the things that you want in your life. This is your life to fail forward and learn from. And it won't go perfect. It doesn't have to go perfect. That's why the podcast is called Failing Forward. But as long as you're moving forward in the right direction, learning along the way, that's what our mission is all about. And that's what we want to see for you.
100%. I love it. I love it. That's exactly it. I'm getting texted.
All right. Do you have any closing remarks for the audience? Because I know you and I can talk all day. I want to talk about the cancer, which you did. I want to talk about how you got into TV, which you did. You're a single mother of 3 and you're kicking ass and taking names. I mean, you're just incredible. Is there any last words of wisdom that you can give to our audience?
I think we've covered so much. It's just, I think the closing is really where we landed, which is change your thoughts and it changes your destiny. Your thoughts dictate your actions, or your thoughts dictate your words dictate your actions dictate your consequences, which ultimately dictate your destiny. And if we start with the right mental game, the rest can flow from there. And it is not easy. It is not supposed to be easy. But choose the magic, choose the miracle, choose to know that you're the miracle. And I mean, that's just kind of just my we get to wake up. I get to wait. I'm not in an infusion suite right now. Like I'm winning.
Amen.
I'm winning. So that is my story. And
don't be Miss Judgy Pants. Moms, if you need help, get help. Get a nanny, get a sitter, find time for you, take care of you, because you can't pour from an empty cup. You can't.
And if somebody says that, or you hear yourself saying, oh, but she has, if you hear yourself, you can go ahead and slap your hands. Go ahead and give yourself a little slap on the back of the head. Stop. Like it's okay that you did it. But once you acknowledge it, don't do it anymore. Don't put somebody else down to make yourself feel better. We are all doing our best from our own state of consciousness, and we want other people to be happy. All ships rise in high tide. And when your friends are happy and other moms are happy, they are feeding into their children happiness. And what we want is to look out for the children. So if you can't do it for anything else, do it for that child that is really happy because the mom is happy, and go from there. It is okay that we have made mistakes. We have said crappy things and we've been a crappy person. But when we can self-correct and redirect, we make this world a better place, and we can be part of the change. So I think I'm done speaking. This is Clubhouse. I'm Barbara Majeski.
When we can self-correct, we can redirect, and that's how we make positive change. Barbara
I might take that
Majeski.
quote. Yeah.
That was so good. When we can self-correct, we will self-direct. And that's how we're going to make positive change. That was amazing. Barbara, we are so grateful to have you on the Failing Forward podcast. Thank you for helping me through my raspy voice. That was hardly here. I was like, do I send her a message to say we need to cancel? No, we're just going to make it happen because I know she can talk. She'll save me. You guys, I've gone through 4 cups of tea here, throat coat tea, slippery elm, boiled grapefruit, honey, all the things. So I apologize for my voice on this episode, but so much love, so much respect for all of you for tuning in and listening through the raspiness. Barbara, thank you so much for pouring into us, for sharing your story, for teaching us how you failed forward. How can we get in touch with you? How can we stay in the know and what you're doing?
So you can get in touch with me. I am BarbaraMajeski.com. Please go to my website, register your email, because we are talking about doing a retreat. I think you and I need to do it together.
We're going to do a summit together. It's already done.
We're going to do a summit, and it's going to be all about, I'm the curator of the good life, and you are living the good life. And we all are, and we just want to share value bombs. I don't know. So register your email, stay in touch. You can also find me on my podcast, which is Bearing It All, and it's all about the grit behind the glamour. And you can definitely find me on Clubhouse. So I do run 2 rooms a week, and you can find that on my website, all the fun information. So Beautiful. Yeah, it's all Barbara Majeski. Just Google me. Have fun.
I love that. Check out the show notes, you guys. You'll see her website on there, BarbaraMajeski.com. You can also stay in touch with her, get into her contact list right there on her email list. She'll send you out when she's doing her Clubhouse rooms. She is a mama of all things great, the curator of the good life. Until next time, Barbara, we'll talk to you so soon. Thank you.
Thank you. This was great. Thank you.
You're welcome.